Welcome to Between the Details, the podcast where event planning gets real. I'm Jessica Ralph, owner of Parties a la Carte.
And I'm Aaron Lockwood, owner of Lockwood Studios. Each week, we'll be sharing insider tips, honest advice, and behind-the-scenes truth for both vendors and clients.
Welcome, everyone, to our next episode. Today, we are so delighted to bring on our good friend, Rylee Andrews from Mind Over Media to talk about content creation. Welcome, Rylee. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for coming on.
You're the one who made us do this.
I know.
Yeah. And you're like, what did I get myself into? No.
Yeah, seriously. I tried to get out
great.
of this about 3 times now, so.
Yes, no, we weren't letting you go.
We're all in. Yes.
Well, why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so my business, Mind Over Media, is a wedding content creation company. I also do social media management, but we'll focus more on wedding content today. I've been doing this for about 2 years. Jessica actually helped me get my start in this business. Content creation is really still on the rise, but about 2 years ago, I was still in college looking for a job. And Jessica, as we all know, does weddings. So she was like, why don't you try this wedding content stuff out? I need content for my business. So she let me attend a wedding, and I remember it being a very long day. And she even said in the beginning, this is going to be a long day, prepare yourself. So I came and I did it, and I ended up really enjoying it, and Jess saw something in me, and she said, hey, you could probably make this into a career. So that's what I ended up doing. And
a few pep talks later,
Yep.
you had your own business.
Yes.
But it's perfect for you. I couldn't imagine you doing anything else. It gives you a lot of creative freedom. It gives you a lot of Disney time.
Yep. Well, I love creating content. I mean, I've been literally, as you guys keep saying, this is going to age me. I know I'm young, but this is going to age me. Back in the Dub Smash days before Musically, I was making...
I don't even know what that is.
Our boys are, we know that.
I was making Michael Jackson videos. I was making Disney videos, all lip sync. So, I mean, I've been creating content, even if it's just for myself, for years.
You have your YouTube channel?
Yep, I've been doing
What platform
YouTube videos.
was that on at that time? Because I know there's been some platforms that have kind of come and gone.
Instagram's been around for the majority. Actually, my account that I have today, my personal, is the same one that I've had since Instagram started, which is crazy.
Because there was a few before, like the videos became popular. What was it, like Vines or something? Like Vine. Before Instagram even had videos.
I'm gonna really age myself and talk about MySpace.
Oh yeah,
I didn't have. I wasn't.
You were
around
after
for MySpace.
Yeah.
Oh my
Those
gosh,
were pretty bad.
no, it's really bad.
I tried to put one together and I was like, no, this is not for me. So I did not go down that route.
Well, why don't you tell us kind of what you do on a wedding day? Like if someone's never experienced a content creator or doesn't know what that is, how would you describe what you do?
Yeah, I would describe it as a more casual videography in a way. Mm-hmm. I shoot everything on my iPhone, so the best thing about that is the turnaround time. I mean, you're getting to look at something from your wedding day within 24 hours. I mean, even during wedding day, sometimes I'm editing the video as the day goes on.
During dinner.
Yep, during dinner usually while I'm charging. The turnaround time, 24 to 48 hours, you have something to look at. And I think that's one of the main reasons I would tell someone to hire a content creator is if you want to have something to look at immediately and relive your day, that's a great option.
I feel like a lot of brides, you're so busy, even as your couples, I should say, you're so busy on the whole day and it just goes, you blink and it's done, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, you don't want to the next day, you want to keep reliving it. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to go back and see things that you didn't get to see because they're inundated with guests. They're trying to be in the moment, but you miss stuff. Yeah. It's your own, you're not at cocktail hour a lot of times, or, you don't get to see you go up and change your dress, you miss something. So I think as a couple, getting to go back and see all of those things in a slower pace is so lovely. And I think that's why even when we have a videographer, because I believe you should have both, when your budget allows, but I think by having both, it gives you the ability to kind of have some quick moments to really enjoy the next day.
Yeah. And I would imagine too that like a lot of the bridesmaids or guests or whatever are probably capturing content, but they're doing it like for themselves. So they're not as focused just on the couple. Whereas I'm assuming your focus is more so in some ways like a little bit behind the scenes kind of thing, but capturing those little moments that would be different than like what the professional photographer, videographer, you know, obviously they're putting together like a more cinematic curated edit, where yours is kind of like in the moment, true life, like
exactly
those memories. So.
Yeah, I like to say that's the little in-between moments. So it's, you know, while the videographer, photographer is posing the couple, what are they doing in between the shot? Like, are they flirting with each other and fixing the hair? I think those are the moments that you maybe miss. So I think those are my favorite and some of the best moments to capture.
No, I think that's awesome. And I know we've already had the conversation before where, you know, I'm sure you've bumped into a few situations where like the hired videographer, photographer, whatever, was not like giving you the space you needed or really understood like why you needed to be there or whatever. And it's like, I feel like that's just like, you know, anymore these days, people need to realize that like this is their space for all of it. And I think it's really cool that you're capturing something that's so different than what we're capturing, and also the quick turnaround time to be able to relive those moments, because like it does, like it just goes by in such a flash for the couples. So
yeah, and I know people these days, like my friends, and I'm getting married this year, so I'm thinking of in a personal way too. I want content from my wedding, and I don't want to have one of my bridesmaids like have that assignment. I want them to be able to live in the moment. I don't want to be on my phone on my wedding day. So having someone else, like a specific content creator there to capture those moments, that makes me feel a lot better.
Well, and I've worked with you several times before, and I think one of the things I really appreciate is how unintrusive you are too. So like the approach that you take is really like, you know, I'm sure after a little while, they almost even forget that you're there and they can just be themselves. And like, I think that's a big key in what you do too. And so I think people could take a cue from that. Like if they're wanting to get into doing what you do, learn how to be like very unintrusive and not like, you know.
I think you really do take a cue from the bride and the groom, and, you know, or the couple. And you really, you know, if they want more fun content, like you'll do TikToks with them, you'll do fun trends with them. But if they're not in line for that, like that's not what they envision for their day, then I think you do take a bigger step back, and you are kind of more in the shadows of things. And I think you're very respectful to the other teams, you know, photo and video, of making sure that you're not in their shots, and you're always checking like, hey, is this a good spot for me to stand in? Because you understand how hard their editing is, and I think there's, you know, a level there. And I also think there's a little bit of a pecking order, right? Like photography is really getting number one because that's what you need the most of, and you can't, you know. And if you miss a moment as a photographer, it's a lot different, because when you're a videographer, you're editing down anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I think photography has to have the most room, because they cannot miss a moment. There has to be a photo for everything that happens.
Well, and they're also the ones that are like posing the couple, posing the families, moving them from point A to point B. So like, you know, they're a little bit more priority with the timeline of that. So
I think that's a good point.
I feel like most photographers usually are the ones to step up, take charge, and direct. So if they are directing, I try not to overstep. I've had a few videographers and photographers, if I'm working with them, sometimes every now and then they'll be like, I forgot you were here. Like I do try to be sneaky with it. I try to stay out of the way. And then if there is a moment where I'm like, the brain is coming up with some ideas, I might say, hey, do you have a quick second? Can I grab this shot really quick? So that usually ends up being a cute shot
and
too.
Corporate work too. So
corporate
we've experienced that together too. So I think
I mean, you really do. You've done social, you do corporate, you do weddings. You do some of our, like how we started here is because you and I were trying to create educational TikToks together. I wanted to hide on TikTok. I wasn't ready to go full launch. So we were creating some of that. And then we ended up here because you said, hey, let's pull Aaron in to start filming, because you were like, this needs another level. And you recognize that. And then we pulled him in, and then we were like, okay, we should just do this together. So
Yeah.
even though you're not typically on the camera, you're behind the
Behind-
scenes helping
Yes.
us run.
Yes.
And so in your
Don't
business,
worry, I feel the same way too, so it's okay. We probably all do. We're
I
like,
know. We're all behind the scenes
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
and we're not
Yep.
really, usually in the front.
Yeah.
So besides doing wedding content, what else do you do at in your company? Like share some of your other.
Yeah, I do social media management. So
What does that mean?
between the details, I'm helping with shoots, of course, behind the scenes, planning out every bit of content that we're going to be posting. Everything has a strategy behind it. Who's seeing our content? What message? What is the goal? And there's so much that goes behind it. We could go into that more later on, but creating the content calendar, that's to help business owners. I know you guys are busy, so my goal is to make your job easier when it comes to social media. By creating the content calendar, you're able to see everything in advance. You're having captions written, hashtags written, all of the things. Of course, I do the posting, and then after the posting's done, community management. So that's just engaging with your target audience online, getting your name out there. These days, social media is so important for your business because if you're not on socials,
I would say a lot of our brides and couples come from finding us on social media.
yep, every wedding
Yeah.
that I've ever booked has come from either Jess or through social media,
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram. So
well, and anybody that's even dabbled in social media, getting their business out there, knows that okay, this is a full-time
it
job.
is a
Like it
full-time
is a
job.
lot of work to stay consistent, to like get the traction.
It's a big
to keep
investment.
It up. Like, oh yeah.
I mean, I could say I spend pretty much the only marketing that we do at Parties a la carte is social media. I have one local company that I still do just out of, because we love them and it's great for the community and it's good local engagement. But for the most part, social media and clients referring us are really how we get our business.
Now, does that also, like when you say social media, like what are the main platforms that you're targeting? I mean, there's a lot that you can do. So it's important to like have them all tied in together. Especially I know Meta like has like it all under their umbrella.
yes, but
now,
don't even get me started about Meta. Meta is the worst for working with social media clients, but it is nice to be able to cross post, like Instagram and Facebook, you can post once and it shares on both platforms. But yeah, that goes into the strategy. Like, who is your client's target audience? What platforms are they on? When are they on those platforms? So it really does depend on the client. And hiring a social media manager helps, build a strategy so you're not just posting into the air and no one's going to see it.
And those algorithms and things change so quickly.
Yes,
so
for sure.
you have to keep up with that. I'm sure like there's a lot of continuing education and following the trends. And so.
And you would consider yourself probably boutique, right? You're taking a handful of clients that you're doing that for, and then also doing the weddings on the weekends.
Yes.
What do you think makes yourself, or maybe not even comparing to yourself, but one content creator different from another? Like, how do you know you're getting a good content creator?
Yeah, I think it's similar with photographers and videographers, but I think a lot of people can, anyone can work an iPhone and press record, right? But do you have the eye for the shot? Do you have a creative mind? Are you thinking in advance? Are you good time management? There's lots of things that go into it, but I would say the main thing is, yes, you can hold a camera, but do you have the creative vision?
So looking at their work essentially and making sure it aligns with your vision.
Yeah. Yep.
That makes sense. Do you, so like when you're brought on board to cover a wedding, a social event or whatever, like do you have an onboarding process with that client before you decide to take the job too? Like do you kind of vet them? And then once you've both agreed, like this is a good fit, then you have like a series of questionnaires and stuff that they answer or?
For sure. I'm still, I would say, in the process of being a new business owner. So, I'm taking on pretty much any client I can, getting experience with different types of clients too. So usually when they reach out, I'll check if I'm available. If I'm ever not available, I actually have a couple other content creators who are like affiliates for me. So they're in the area. If I'm unavailable, I'll check with one of them. But after we decide if I'm available, we actually schedule the call. Typically, the clients have been reaching out like a year in advance. But so I'll do an initial call whenever they book. And then that's kind of just like getting basic questions, getting to know them more, getting to know their story as a couple, how they met, all of that good stuff. And then the real call usually happens about 6 months away. And that's getting into like the details of your wedding. What kind of content do you like? Are there any specific shots you want me to make sure I get during your wedding day? Do you like a more cinematic video for your edited recap video, or do you like a short dynamic style? All of those details happen then, and then I typically do one more call about a month out for from their wedding to see if anything's changed and finalize all the good details.
That's cool.
What do you think most couples do with the content that you create?
I've actually had a couple share. So when I deliver the footage, you get a folder of all the raw footage and then a folder for your edited videos. And they both come with links, so they're really easy to share. I've had a bride share the links with her family members and friends as like a wedding favor. So it's super easy to share with friends and family. I think that's another great thing about the content. There's so much raw footage. I would say from an entire wedding day, I'm probably getting 300 or plus clips of raw footage.
You go through all of those before you send them to make sure that they make sense.
Yeah.
That's great. What do you think about the trends during a wedding day?
Yeah, I would say in my experience, they haven't been super popular. Like couples don't really want trends. They want the footage more so to have something to look back on. Yep. In those in-between moments. So the trends, I don't love doing them on wedding day because your wedding day is packed. Like you have a timeline, a set timeline, and it is jam-packed. So if I were to do trends, it'd be during like the downtime. But I think the couple should focus on, enjoying the downtime and taking it all in versus let's make a quick TikTok video,
Do you think most of that happens in the beginning, like getting ready with the bridesmaids primarily?
Yeah. It's usually a girl's thing.
Okay. I could see some of it like on the dance floor too. I'm sure like if it's like new popular songs or dances or whatever, like that would probably be.
Are you going to incorporate any trends on your wedding day?
Ooh.
I heard you have a very fabulous planner.
Yes, I sure do. Shout out Parties a la carte.
Yeah.
We're super excited. And you're at Hotel Hyatt, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's a cool venue.
Yeah, that's
a
beautiful.
really cool
I've
venue.
done 2 weddings there now, which is also really cool to be on 2 sides of it, to be able to like see your venue at someone else's wedding and get a vision of how it might go and then have your own vision and then incorporate that. So I'm excited for ours,
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm sure you guys know, like you've both been married, so you like have been able to live the experiences that you're helping others have. So I'm excited to do
we were
the
actually
same.
talking about that on the previous episode, how like sometimes your stages of life kind of dictate what you're doing in your business at that time too. So then like fast forward when kids come along, when Jen and I were having kids, we were doing newborn portrait, like a whole different stage of like, now we're photographing food and corporate events. So.
Next, you'll be doing kids parties, is what he said.
Yeah, so just like I'm sure your business will evolve over the years as you kind of go through those
For sure.
those stages too. So, do you bring like on a wedding or a corporate event? Do you bring other people along with you sometimes, or do you mostly try to cover it all?
Yeah, I haven't yet. Usually just myself. Again, I try to be as discreet as possible. Yeah. So I literally just bring myself, my iPhone camera,
lots of chargers.
A lot of chargers. Yeah. And usually a ring light. Okay. I've noticed the ring light is very popular, and it doesn't make a big difference.
Small footprint, quick mobile.
Yes.
Nice. Kind of jealous.
Yeah, I know. That's what a lot of people say. You guys have to carry on 50 pounds of gear, and I'm like,
yeah. Especially corporate events. Sometimes like we're covering both photo and video. And so it's like carts full of gear. And then I'm like, oh, there's Rylee with her stuff. You want to switch?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate it. We want to end with a vendor confession.
Ooh.
Yes.
So can you tell us something that you would like to confess about for your industry, being in content creation?
Yes, I have a wedding pet peeve I'd like to share.
Okay, tell us.
I love an unplugged ceremony. My biggest pet peeve is when you have a whole team of content people, photographers, videographers, and then there's always Grandma Sue with the camera in the middle of the aisle.
Yes.
That is
Who
my
thinks that they're a
Uncle
professional.
Joe.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's, I will agree with you. It's a pet peeve of mine. For me, it's like just sit down, be in the
enjoy
moment,
it. Yeah.
be there. They've hired the photographer, the videographer, the content creator.
Yes.
They've got the whole team. And by the way, each of those teams is 2 people a lot of times,
Yeah.
except for you. But,
Yeah.
photo and video is usually 2 teams. That's 4 people that are capturing this from all these different angles. Like, please just sit down.
Especially now with you, they're doing what you do. There's no reason they can just enjoy the event. Literally, you'll be delivering stuff within 24 or 48 hours. So it's like,
I mean, in their defense, like I understand you want to capture it in the moment and have it to look at immediately. But hey, I can get it to you same day, next day, So
enjoy the actual
enjoy it.
moment. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your confession and for being here today. I know this was a big ask and we forced you, but it's okay. We love you for it. And
You did awesome.
And we're
There's
going to make you come back
probably more
again.
in your future for sure. You did too good of a job. Now you have to come back.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Rylee.
Thanks, guys.